These canyon lands are as generous as they are treacherous. We're in an ancient garden, surrounded by dozens and dozens of traditional first foods. First foods meaning these are the foods that evolved with human beings over longer than we can imagine. Flavors most tongues have never tasted. Potent, so dense in minerals and nutrients that our bodies don't even know what to do with it. They have a high satiant value, meaning just a little bit of these foods and you feel full very fast. And we don't even have the gut flora, most of us, to digest them. You guys want to see some foods? There's a lot of layers and tiers to the gardens out here. And right here, there's going to be a few things that are very specific, but as we climb up, there's going to be some changes. If we go to a different sun slope, there might be some changes. Oftentimes, you'll find an onion that's unique grown right here, and then it'll be a completely different one over here, you know, depending on the sun slope, cracks and crevices. And so let's go through some of these traditional food gardens right here. Right away, we have 4 different kinds of lomatiums. 3 of them are food. One of them is medicine. We go right here, we can see the medicine root sticking way out. Some powerful antiviral medicine for your respiratory system here, growing amongst the fern leaf biscuit roots. And then you can see this sage colored fern leaf next to this lighter color fern. These are 2 different kinds of bread roots right here. Lomatium macrocarpum, and then the fern leaf biscuit root. Lomatium macrocarpum. This one is best baked in an earth oven. Same with the balsam roots. See this one right here? That's maybe your 3rd or 4th year. We want 2nd year balsam roots. They're pretty much wood after the 2nd year. Lomatium nudicale is one with broad leaves. Unlike most biscuit roots that have these fern-like leaves, some of them have broad leaves. Every one of these grasses is a wild potato, Brodia lily. They're just young. And here's a Brodia lily that's starting to bloom. These are a wild potato. They're a type of lily, have a beautiful blue flower, same relative as camas. They're both called wild hyacinth. And that's what all these grasses are everywhere throughout the garden. I'm camped under this big ponderosa tree right here. And where the horses are grazing, there's not much food. This is where the cows graze mostly. But you can see when it reaches these rocky spots, there's going to be a lot of food. We're just right here on the edge of this knob, and as we come back toward camp, we could see rose and plum thickets that sugar ants manage. All around my camp is plums that sugar ants manage. I didn't realize that this big ponderosa tree was a sugar ant palace. And I learned really quick that this circle of plums surrounding the pine tree is the ant colony's garden. Raven, you decide to show up now? And of course, growing amongst the plum thickets, there are going to be a variety of different traditional foods. This one's called ball head waterleaf. Oh my gosh, these are so delicious. It's kind of muddy right now, but even the blossoms from the roots to the leaves of ball-headed waterleaf, delicious, sugary. We got wood violets, and they're closed right now because it's kind of cloudy and dewy and cold this morning. Violets close up at night and open up during the sunshine, and they are delicious, both the leaves and the blossoms. Today I woke up and chose violets. Some of these Brodia lilies, you can tell they're going to be some big potatoes down in there. They get pretty big, guys. They get pretty big. You just don't see them. You see a lot of immature stuff. But every now and again you find examples of maturity, which are rare. Within the same biome, we're finding spring beauties. A bit more inconspicuous because they're no longer blooming. They come early spring. As inconspicuous as these grasses look, they are not the Brodia lily. They are a Mariposa lily. They're the macrocarpum, Mariposa macrocarpum. I got the purple flower. And they're all over too. Growing amongst the Brodia lilies. There's the Brodia lilies. They're gonna bloom here within a short couple weeks, but the Mariposa lilies, they're not gonna bloom until summer. And this broadleaf is also a Mariposa lily, a different type. And it's the one that has the white and purple flowers. These goosefoot violets, they are also very delicious. Different type of violet. This tree did not make it. It burned up here last year in the summertime. However, the old growth tree I'm camped under, it's got green branches all the way to the bottom. Some of those bottom branches are singed off, but dude, not even a fire scar. Looks like the only part of this tree that survived is this big branch right here that's coming off the side of it. Still got green needles right here. Wow. But the big part of the tree is dead. That's interesting. You can see the fire jumped the canyon walls, so it burned on the other side too. And it's hard to see from the camera, but it's extra green. This is what I'm looking for right here. This has got to be a decent sized spring beauty. Usually when there's a lot of tops coming off of one, that's an indicator. Oh yeah, it's a decent sized potato right there. Every bit of these greens are food too. They're not looking like the best shape, but we can tell what stage the seeds are in by squeezing them out. See that they're black? That means they're ready to be planted. When they're green or white, white is fresh, green is getting there, then they start to turn reddish, and they turn black when they're ready. And we'll put those in there. They love the fire too. Just sort of scatter them. That's a decent sized potato. I've gathered them like this, but that's the biggest I've seen them is like this. So every now and again you come out into these places, you can find some examples of maturity, some ancient things. But these places have been hammered hard. It might look like we're in the middle of nowhere, but this place is grazed to death. And it still has a lot of abundance, but man, this place is hammered. It's full of weeds, thistles, flax, mustards, and cheatgrass. Even more. But this early spring, these early spring ephemerals, that's what's dominating. That's why I'm out here this early. There's a real thick brush of bitter cherries and plums right here to get up onto this upper ridge. All these white blooming shrubs, those are service berries. We've got quite a bit of them. Not as many as I'd like to see, but that's what they are. Got lots of miner's lettuce growing in here. They love it when it burns. Beautiful Mariposa lily. I've made plenty of videos about yellow bells. They are so delicious. They're a delicacy, truly. Look at that. Each one of these is a baby. So digging these is spreading these. Separate these from the mother root. That's the only time they get to grow. So it's got literal hundreds of babies. Little rice roots. Fritillary is a global genus, so you can find fritillaries on every continent in the world. And they all produce like that. So digging is planting. That's why we love them. those are all the wild foods from this knob to that burnt pine tree right there. Just this little slope I'm camped on. Every hill out here, every knob, every ridge, every steep slope is nothing but traditional first foods of the indigenous people. This is Nimipu homelands. Just nothing but food out here. And it's treated exclusively as a cow pasture. I'm Michael Ridge, guys, and I've been living nomadic on horseback for 12 consecutive years. And we follow the traditional food systems. Camp year round. I don't do anything else. This is it.